Hey everybody, welcome to lesson number 2 in the Introduction to Excel for Beginners. So lesson 1, I showed you what the rows and the columns are, the cell names, the ranges. This time I'm going to show you how you start typing data into a spreadsheet. Okay, so the first thing that I want to show you is that wherever you have the active cell, all you have to do is just start typing. So in cell A1, if I wanted to say, um, let's say I'm creating a spreadsheet to track how much a home improvement project is going to cost. Okay, so let's just say we're going to build a small deck. So what I would want to do here to keep track of my expenses would be to list the items, the quantities, and their prices, and see how it's going to come out at the end. So across the top, I'm going to put in my column headings. Okay, your column headings always go in the first row of your workbook, and your row headings always go in your first column of your workbook. Let me show you what I mean. In this case, we're only going to have column headings. So across the top, we are going to say this column is going to be called material. This is going to be called price. This is going to be called quantity. And then extended price. So you want each of these to be in separate cells, in separate columns, because all of the information that you're going to put down below it is going to be one thing per cell. Okay, so one thing that I have seen people do over the years is that when they see that they want to do material price, quantity, extended price, they'll just keep typing that in the first cell. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I'm getting ready to show you the wrong way to do this, this is what I have seen in the past. I've seen people go material, space price, space quantity, space extended price, and put all that in the same cell. Now, as you can see by looking at it, there's really not a whole lot of difference between row 1 and row 2, but there's a world of difference between the two because row 1 is correct and row 2 is not. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. You want each of your column headings to be in its own column. Okay, so material is in column A, price is in column B, quantity is in column C, and extended price is in column D. Okay, now this one that's wrong in row 2, I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard to get rid of it. Before I do that, though, I want to show you one more thing that is very important in Excel. Okay, so what we've got here in A1, we've got the word material. Okay, you can also see that right here. Material, material. Same with price, price and price. Now I want you to see the difference when we click down into A2. Even though we've got material showing as visible in cell A2, look at everything else that we have in cell A2, okay? This is all in one cell, and that's not going to work for the purposes that we have. So even though it kind of looks like price and quantity and extended price are in these other cells, they are not. They are spilling over into these other cells because there is nothing in those cells. So anytime you've got something in a cell that's wider than the column is, if there is an empty space right next to it, it will just spill on over into those other cells, even though it's not actually in there. So check this out. When I click on B2, I want you to see what happens in this area up here. Okay, I'm going to click on B2. Look, there's absolutely nothing up here. That means there is nothing in cell B2. Even though it looks like there is something in it because it shows down here. See how it's got RICE space QUAN and part of T right here? Even though it shows that there's something in B2, there's really not, okay? So whenever you're worried about what is in a cell, you have to pay attention to the part up here. to this piece. If this is empty, that means there's nothing in that cell. Here's the difference between row 1 and row 2. When I click into row 1 on price, price is actually in there because I have each of my column headings in a different column. Okay, so that's why row 1 is right and row 2 is not. Okay, so here's something that I want you to get comfortable with. Whenever you are in a cell and you don't want those contents to be in there anymore, all you have to do is hit the delete on your keyboard and it takes it away. You don't have to select it. You don't have to click into it in backspace. All you have to do whenever you have a cell selected, if you want to clear the contents of that cell, all you have to do is hit delete on your keyboard. That's it. I'm just going to start by putting some of the materials in here that we're going to need. So I'm going to need 6x6 posts in 2 different sizes. So I'm going to go 6x6 by 12. And then I'm going to do 6x6 by 8. And then I'm going to do 2x6s. And I'm going to get those in 3 sizes. I'm going to get 10 foot. I'm going to get 2x6 by 12. And I'm going to get 2x6 by 16. Okay, so here's the prices that I have for this stuff. So 6x6 by 12 is $36.57, and the 6x6 by 8 is $22.37. And then the deck boards are going to be 2x6 by 10 are going to be $6.98 each. 12 is going to be $8.77 each, and 16 is going to be $11.57. Okay, so as you can see, as I typed this stuff in, when I typed in 6x6 by 12, I typed it, I hit enter. It took me to this cell. And then I typed 6x6 by 8, and then I hit enter, and it took me to this cell. I did the same thing on the prices. I put the price for each material in its own cell. So I typed in the price and hit enter, and enter, and enter, and enter. Okay, so now I have to put in the quantities. Okay, so how many 6x6 by 12s do I need? Let's just say, for simplicity's sake, we need 8. Okay, and then 6x6 by 8, let's say we need 12. Don't really know if this is anywhere close to accurate, but we're just going to go with it. So how many 10 footers do we need? Let's do 18. How many 12 footers? We're going to do 15. That's probably not right. We should do 14. And then 10 of these 16 footers. Okay, so now that I've got my quantities typed in here, now I'm going to do a formula to give me my extended price. Okay, so all you have to do to get your extended price is to multiply your price times your quantity. Okay, so what you want in this cell right here is $36.57 times 8. Now, you're not going to put 36.57 times 8 in this cell. What you're going to do is you're going to take the cell location of each of those and put that into this cell. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. So when I say we want to do 36.57 times 8, I'm going to look to see what cell location 36.57 is in. Okay, so you can click on it and it'll tell you what your cell location is right here, B2. So I'm going to take B2 and I'm going to multiply it by the quantity, which is C2 right here. Okay, all you have to do to put this formula into Excel is go into the cell where you want the answer, which in this case is D2. I'm in cell D2 now. You have to type the equal sign. That's how you tell Excel that you're getting ready to put in a formula. Okay, so we're going to do equals. And there's several different ways that you can do this right now. The easiest way for beginners, I feel, is to actually take your mouse and click on the cell that has the information that you want to use in your formula. Okay, so if I click right here, Excel is going to put B2 into that part of the formula. So right now we have equals B2, and now we need to multiply it by our quantity, right? So we're going to put in the asterisk. You don't use X when you're multiplying in Excel. You have to use the asterisk. You have to use the star. You can find the star above the 9 on your 10 key, or it is the upper function of 8 on your keyboard. Either way, put in the asterisk now. So we've got B2 times, and then I'm just going to click over here on C2, and it's going to stick C2 in there for me. Okay, once you have the formula in there that you want, in this case is equals B2 times C2, all you have to do is hit enter. And that gives you the extended price for your 6x6x12s for this home improvement project. Okay, here's something I want to point out to you. Right here in this cell, you can see we have $292.56. Okay. However, I want you to look up here so you can see the difference. What is actually in the cell is right here. And if it is a formula, the answer is displayed here. So always right here is going to be what is actually in the cell. So in this cell is equals B2 times C2. The answer to that formula appears down here. Okay, so sometimes you're going to have the same thing in both places. Like right here, you're going to have 8, and what's actually in the cell is 8. So 8 and 8, those are the same. Here, you've got a formula in the cell, and then right here, it shows you the result of that formula. Okay? So, without going into the details about cell references, I'm just going to show you a really quick way to copy this formula to the rest of the cells on this spreadsheet, okay? So we've got B2 times C2 right here. We are going to take that formula and we are going to copy and paste it to these other cells because we're going to need a very similar formula to calculate the other materials. So here is the easiest thing that you can use in Excel. This is going to be your biggest time saver by far, is your fill handle. Okay, so see how we change from the select mode? See how it changes over to a black plus sign when you hover over this little box right here? This is changing your select mode of your cursor to the fill mode of your cursor. Okay, when you've got this black plus sign, which is your autofill, that means that you can copy and paste or you can fill a series. All you have to know how to do on this one is hover your mouse over the autofill box, which is right there, and then all you have to do is just left click, hold, and drag to where you want your last formula to be. So I clicked and drug down through row 6, and whenever you let go, it will paste that formula into those other cells so that you don't have to do it each time. It thinks for you, okay? So now we know that this many 6x6x12s is this much, so on and so forth for each line item. Okay, so what is this home improvement project going to cost me altogether? This is another one of those most used functions. You want to click the auto sum. You click that and it's going to pop up and say, do you want me to sum D2 through D6 right here? And you say yes by hitting enter. Now here you can see that the total price for this home improvement project is $925.12. I did that by using the sum function, which is found right here. If you want some more information about Excel functions and cell references, then watch video 3 coming up next.